There you go. See those hearts there? That's
Thank you.
for you guys. We love you.
Thank
You know, these are
you.
people around the world. They're not just in, but look, there you
my
go.
God.
That's how much they love you.
Stay
There
strong.
they are.
That's
Stay
incredible.
strong. You
Look at all
guys,
that.
Not give
you
up.
are right.
Look at that.
You
What
are right.
family.
You are right.
Love this
you are
family.
right.
Absolutely.
You are right.
Yes.
You are right. Well, not to love us. You're right
This
to know what you
Australia.
know.
This is around the world, literally.
Oh,
This is the
Love
back.
the
So
Aussies.
many thinking moms in Australia.
AC/DC.
Yeah, do the work they're saying. Look, and this is gonna go. So you guys are gonna get Periscope and check out all your hearts because we're gonna be here all night.
Well, I'm Lisa Goes. I'm president of Team TMR. I'm a co-founder of the Thinking Moms Revolution and formerly president of the Masuda Project. And our whole mission and what we've always done is try to spread the word as eloquently as we could about what happened to our son. And we're so grateful for Vaxxed because you guys are doing what we always hope to do.
But you know, it's really, just before you, sorry, I just want to say this is really, really important, which I keep saying over and over again. Vax's success and that we're winning is because of you and people like you. It is years and years of hard work of organisations and people around the world, and it's come to a head. But it's everybody. That bus belongs to everybody. The whole movement is everybody. It's no single person.
Amen. Amen. I agree.
And this is Dave.
Hi, Polly.
Hi, Dave.
So I'm Dave. I'm known as the Rev's husband, Lisa's husband, and I do have a day job, but I'm also a fierce advocate for our children when it comes to vaccine injury and watching what's happened, not just to our son, but to many other kids around the world. And I'm very happy to be part of this and very impressed with everything that you guys have done on the Vaxxed tour.
So before we start on this interview, just there are people saying it's the wall, love the wall. So people clearly know about you and the wall. So for those that don't, can you explain why we are here in this particular place?
Absolutely. So we are sitting on a pew that seats several adults comfortably as well as children. And every picture that you see on this wall, all of these children were adversely affected by vaccines. I think a lot of people who are watching are going to see a lot of familiar faces. Karen Kane's daughter, Alex Sportalakis.
Where's Alex?
Alex is right there.
I didn't know you had a picture of him. There's our beautiful Alex and Lisa, as I told you.
Loyola.
I told you on the way in here how involved Lisa was in helping Alex.
Yeah. So many kids. We have Kale right behind Dave. We have so many children. Michelle Duffy, her whole family.
Oh, we
you guys have
love
already
the
talked to
Duffys.
Michelle.
There you go.
So many families. And Carolyn Gamichia's son. So many kids that have been adversely affected by vaccines.
Taylor's.
Yeah. The Reeds.
Where's the ring?
Way up high.
Oh, there they are, the little monkeys.
High in the sky.
Ian did an amazing sign
Yeah.
of the verse. It was very emotional.
The O'Connells, way up there, way up high in the sky.
People want to get their children on the wall. It's going to become like the
No
verse.
problem. We would love it. We look how much we have. We know that there's plenty of room, and I mean our house couldn't possibly house all the kids who were harmed. But this is sweet Noah. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Hi. Hey, what do you,
Pufferfish.
Make that noise to the pufferfish.
what do you remember about Miss Polly and Dr. Andy? What do you remember?
Dr.
He talks
Andy.
all the time about
Dr.
going to the
Andy's
summit.
house.
What do you remember? He remembers the dog Bella.
What they're talking about is, and also we came, Andy and I came here, I don't know how long ago, I can't even remember.
I thought it was
years.
like 3 years.
And we
or
brought
4
Bella and
years.
Toby.
Yeah.
And we had we do have this story recorded
Tickles,
at
please.
Autism Media Channel, but we're doing
That's
it again
what
for
it
you guys on Periscope. But please know, people,
Even
that
better.
this boy has come a long, long way. If you ever think there's no hope, this boy is the picture poster child of hope. And these parents are too, so.
I'll see you. I'll see you later. I'll
Let's see. What do you say? What do you want to say to all the people? What do you want to say to all the people who know what happened? What do you want to say to them?
Stella.
Stella. Stella.
Streetcar named
Stella. Do you have anything you want to say to all the people? What do you want to say to all the
I'll
people?
pop for fish, Mom.
What do you want to say when it comes to people talking about everyone needing vaccines? Do you want to say seriously?
Or was Jane K are about to cry?
Yeah, they would be about to cry, huh? They'd be about to cry if that happened to them.
Jane K are about to cry.
Do you want to say seriously?
Jane
Seriously.
K are about to cry.
Seriously.
About to cry.
There are people saying that they
Jane
prayed
Care.
for you guys before, and there are people
Care
saying how
about
wonderful
to
he
cry.
looks as well.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
We have felt every single prayer. There's absolutely no question in my mind that we have been extraordinarily, powerfully, supernaturally supported by the people who know what happened,
I just have my
by the people who have had it happen to themselves, and have been in a situation where they cannot tell their story because they are not supported and they don't have help and they don't have people pushing them forward and helping them. And we continue and will never stop telling the story. I know some people struggle a little bit because recently I have been talking a lot more about the victory, and I know there's a lot of people who struggle with the joy component considering how much work we all have to do. But the reality is we have to focus on the incredibly brilliant things that are happening as a result of Vaxxed, as a result of the Thinking Moms, as a result of TACA, as a result of Generation Rescue, as a result of NAA, of all of the organizations who have been doing such an incredible job to help all of our kids. It's happening now. So I kind of have my heart will always be with our people. That will never change. That will never change. We will always be pushing this cause forward. We will always be doing what we have to do in order to make people understand what's happened to these kids. But we have to focus on what we can do, not on what we can't do. He's gotten better because, and now he's going to be a drama king for the camera because he wants a chip that he's not getting. How very neurotypical.
Colors bunnies.
Go get him.
Go get him, dude.
I don't know what
But
it
don't
is
beat him down.
that Andy and I came here, but he was not talking like this at
There
all.
was no
It is
language.
Unbelievable.
There was, well, you know the story. There was, and we will tell it again. It was extraordinary violence. I think a lot of people. I've been pinged recently by a lot of people who are wondering what his recovery looks like. I don't call it recovery. I call it restoration because our life was 21 diarrhea-filled diapers a day, not potty trained at the age of 6. Taking him to his good, amazing chiropractor, who you're going to see tomorrow in Orland. He would try to elope from the vehicle 17 times. I would have to pull the car over and get him back in his car seat. He would undo his seatbelt over and over again. I've thrown my body on top of him in front of moving vehicles more times than I care to count. So restoration for us looks like extraordinary progress. His language is incredible. His educators were brought to tears this year by the amazing things that he's doing. Where harm would have been thrust out to others, he now inflicts it upon himself, which we're not happy about. But it's light and mild, this hand biting, as opposed to what we used to endure. I mean, there were over 90 holes in his room. We've patched every single one because we're confident enough that he's not going to punch a hole. Oh, buddy, watch that thing. He's not going to punch a hole in another wall because he has a different way of relating, has a different way of being, and his excitement over life. He's happy. Are you happy? No, I want a chip. Are you happy?
Can you eat to my left?
You want to eat a chip?
Are you happy, bro?
Tickles, please.
If you give me tickles.
I love that laugh.
It's a different world from...
I've never heard him laugh.
Right. It's a different world from the world we had before. And obviously we've done, the gamut. I know you know all of the bajillion interventions that are available to all these kids. And we're $1 million in. We're not, and I'm not going to say we're not stopping. We're not.
No.
Fort Knox.
Can we talk about how you guys were before this terrible thing happened?
Yeah. Oh, him as a child? So you
Yeah. So,
I mean,
Well, it's funny because we were just talking about that a couple of weekends ago when we actually got to get away for our anniversary, and it was probably the first time in 15 years, because we've been married 15 years in September,
congratulations.
where we actually got to hang out as a couple and we didn't worry about who was watching him, how he was going to melt down, what were the repercussions going to be, and we just really enjoyed ourselves for a weekend, and it was great. But as LJ said, it took us a long time to get to the place where we actually could do that, and it took a village to get him to the place that he is. Wonderful doctors, wonderful caretakers, wonderful family, friends,
doctors.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, but I mean, that comes with an incredible cost,
Therapists.
and we have a great support community that helped us get there. But without that, I mean, we don't know where we would be. So we're very, very thankful.
And every person who was a part of his journey to restoration, obviously we're not 100% there, but every person who was a part of it didn't have an agenda. They were seeing the child, they were seeing him, and they were appreciating and loving him with the love of God. And I don't know how to say that without making some people, I don't know how to say the words the right way, because I want them to
It
know.
doesn't matter. Just
Yeah.
say whatever you want to say, and people can do whatever they want with it.
It literally was individuals coming in, and when I would tell his story, and they would know what he went through and the pain. I mean, you guys visited with us at the height of the pain. I mean, our daily life, oftentimes we go through what you go through in terms of people saying,
Tickle, please take my.
you have resources, or you have this, or you have that. When you have a child who's self-abusing and you can't manage that child, and you're on your own the majority of the time because somebody has to fund this operation,
So bad is the word.
it doesn't matter what you have if you can't manage it. It doesn't matter. And I want people to know that we are 110% understanding what that experience is like. We know what it feels like, but all you can do is be present and find people who love on them. We have a tendency, I think, to become so angry and so enraged and become such purists that we're like, oh, I can't do that therapy because it does that, or I don't want to work with that person because they don't represent my beliefs. And it's like, I was so desperate. At one point, I left him with a 15-year-old so that I could go in my garage and cry, who wasn't equipped to handle him. I don't think she was equipped to handle him. Who was in my house with him, watching him, while I was in my garage crying and melting down by myself just so I could be alone. Like, I don't think the external world understands what these parents are enduring, but at the same time, I don't think the parents who are enduring it understand it's okay to do that. If you have to find a 15-year-old and say, hey, look, I'm going to pay you $8. I need to have my brain back. You need to sit with my kid, and if all it means is following him around from room to room so I can go sit in the garage and cry and get myself together and sit in the car and screaming. Oh, God, I've done my fair share of screaming. Then that's what you have to do in order to maintain your sanity, because our friends, we know what's happening. Our 30-year-old friends who have kids like this are having strokes, are having nervous breakdowns, are falling apart because they have no support, but they also believe they have to do it all on their own. And you don't. The cries for help are being heard now probably more than they've ever been. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would. And I think the beauty of VAX and the beauty of everything that's going on, one of the things that I think that people fail to remember is that almost every one of us, in fact, every one of us, were completely pro-vaccination before our kids were injured. I mean, I remember.
Of course.
I have it labeled. I mean, his anniversary date is on my calendar, just like our anniversary date is on our calendar. When he got his MMR and was injured. I mean, I remember being like 2 days late and thinking that we were bad parents to get that shot. We were 2 days late, and the fact that most of us were
Vesicles.
these parents who just did what we were told, I think should serve as a cautionary tale for those people who think, like, well, these are just anti-vaxxers. No,
Nobody's
We
an
were all-
anti-vaxxer. Nobody,
no.
like, staunchly said, I am against any intervention that helps children be healthy and well.
Well,
Nobody ever
the
said
one that I
that.
bring up all the time is penicillin. If you have severe allergic reaction to penicillin, are you anti-penner? No, you just are a good parent. You're saying, my kid had an allergic reaction to this medication. I'm not going to give my kid this medication anymore. And the
Right.
doctors will say, oh, that's a good idea. But if you have a severe allergic reaction to a vaccine,
Yeah.
you're an anti-vaxxer and you should go to jail or whatever the propaganda is right now.
And there's no drama around saying my child, and I think we can all agree that the peanut allergy is absolutely related to this argument 100%. But when you say your child has a peanut allergy, okay, all right, this
You're
child
legit,
has a
yeah.
peanut allergy. This is a significant issue that we have to address. And we know the genesis of that illness is completely related to what he endures. But I'm saying it's recognized and acknowledged, and there is this sort of, social viability about that doesn't exist for what has happened to these kids. So that has to be acknowledged. We have to be able to bridge the gap between setting them in this group and saying this is a mental disorder with, the lack of scientific curiosity around this is astounding. The fact that people are not saying, wow, this is profound. Like, the amount of children who are affected by this, it's an extraordinary number, and we have to do something about this. Let's really evaluate this, and let's look at the data, and let's be really analytical and drill down and find out what's happening.
Yeah, and the craziest thing is, you've got this guy, Bill Thompson, sitting at the CDC, who basically came out, it's hidden in plain sight, saying that we omitted statistically significant data from the study. Then he went on to tell Bill Posey that they basically destroyed documents in a room, threw these documents into a garbage can, and we've been telling our politicians that this is happening, and nothing's happening. This is ridiculous that we're just sitting here, sitting on this bombshell of information around the fact that they completely covered up the MMR autism link,
Vesicles.
and nobody in Congress, other than Posey and probably a couple other players, are saying we want to subpoena this guy.
Right, well, they're choosing money before our children.
Right.
Yeah.
They're all corrupt, and they are all taking money.
But-
In fact,
but-
we're interviewing them, we're saying it, we're speaking to the parents. The parents are going to win this.
But that's exactly right, Polly. The market always wins, eventually. And so I say that over and over, but it's true. People hear the word the market and they think Wall Street and stockbrokers and all that kind of stuff. What the market is the day-to-day interactions that happen over the fence with your neighbor, the conversations that happen at the supermarket, the conversations that happen at the Little League game, soccer match. These are the conversations that are happening every day. Bus stops around the world, parents talking to parents, doctors talking to doctors, nurses talking to nurses, and they're talking about the truth, and they're saying, this is happening. I don't care what the large special interests are going to say is happening. This is happening. Our kids are being destroyed by these medications, some of them, not all of them, but they're being destroyed, and this is a lifelong condition costing billions of taxpayer dollars, and we love him just the way he is, but the reality is he wasn't meant to be this way.
And the suggestion that we don't, when that argument is presented, that, well, it's a blessing, you've been blessed. No, this is a man-made illness.
Yeah.
This is an epigenetic evolution of sickness. And the fact that people would say that is absolutely maddening. I just posted on Facebook that around us there are several Planned Parenthood, Chicagoland, there's Planned Parenthoods everywhere. And on occasion, if I have a few minutes, I will perhaps stop and chat with them a little bit about the contents of vaccines, because I don't understand how people who are, I understand, I completely 110% understand the pro-life movement. What I don't understand is how people are picketing. I liken it to Jiffy Lube. If you're angry about the high price of oil, you don't go picket the Jiffy Lube. People don't understand that aborted human fetal tissue is in several of the vaccines that are on the CDC schedule. So when I share that data, mostly from Marcella Piper Terry's website, from VaxTruth, whenever I share her links with them, oftentimes I get a few concerned people who are willing to follow up the discussion and do the work. Other times I'm told, I don't want to proliferate infectious disease. They don't say proliferate. They say bad words. I don't want to, they say mean things. And really, this is by far the most intellectual conversation that we could be having as a society right now. It's not about, all of the sort of bizarre language that surrounds this isn't real. The flat earthers and the, let's go back to, prehistoric times. And it's like, once you really delve into the data and read the science and then read the marketing materials and then go back and evaluate the history, and you read newspapers from the time when you understand that this was becoming a huge marketing push. Him doing what he does for a living and being in the financial realm has really helped me to wrap my mind around a lot of what's happened, because he will talk to me about certain trends and things, and he'll elucidate for me, like, this is, people want to believe this, so this is what we're all being pushed to believe. And when you really step back and look at the facts, and I know people get so frustrated when I say parents do the work, but seriously, if you read the scientific data, and then you read the marketing data, and then you read the package inserts, and then you go visit the CDC website, it couldn't be more obvious.
So what is Noah's story? What happened to him?
That's
I know
all
it's
you.
so I know it's so exhausting.
No, we're happy to tell it again. I think, he was developing, and he was a little bit behind the curve. He wasn't. There were no marked differences that would make him be.
He's your second child of 3, isn't
Right.
he?
So everything that we were told, and our first was a girl, just like you guys. Mads was above the curve, perfect.
Fully vaccinated.
Fully vaccinated, and you need to chill out a little bit, Mom, and you need to calm down. He's fine. He, at the age of 12 months, would not eat. He would not, he reflexively spit out everything. He developed pica.
Was he eating at any point?
No, it was formula. It was formula the entire time. So, let's just say at 8.
Because we're hearing major DTaP reactions of children that just won't eat.
Yeah.
I'm literally learning this as I'm going on.
Yeah, well, if we're being honest, I feel like Hep B head blew up. Oh, his head's so swollen because he just came out of the birth canal. It was precipitous birth because it was so fat. His head was, it was huge. We have a picture. Do we have it on that wall still? Yeah, it's a picture of Dave, and it was just huge, and we would joke, like, he's going to be a football player. He's so rough and tumble. But then at 3 months, horrific eczema. Horrific.
And he's fully vaccinated.
Fully vaccinated up until 18 months. So when we first sat down, when we started talking about it, we talked about the 12-month reaction, because that's when I knew something was up. There was no question in our mind.
Yeah, that's when he started to scoot and
was a late walker,
the
not
walls,
walking.
and started
Licking walls.
grunting, and was very.
No crying.
Yeah, no.
Only grunting, no words, and just not connected anymore. He was pointing at one point, between 8 months and 12 months, he was pointing, and he would, he would smile, and there was something. But 12 months was when it was kapow.
Yeah.
It was a marked.
That was the MMR, then the 103-degree fever, then the acetaminophen, and then
glutathione depletion,
it was just
mitochondrial.
tank.
just blew up and completely gone. And then, but I was so, I read 3 books. I read Jenny McCarthy's book, I read The God Autism Connection, and I read Evidence of Harm, because I just felt led to those books when he wasn't doing well and the pediatrician was ignoring me. Was outright ignoring me. Like, when you choose the route of integrative healthcare, you have to get all of your records from all of your doctors. It says on every single well baby visit, mom has concerns, mom has concerns, mom has concerns, and nothing was ever addressed. There was no point where, and I know that it seems odd that I would be laughing about it, but I have had to get to a place where I can laugh about it, because you know how I've been for many years and what we've journeyed through. And the reality is, now knowing what we know, I would encourage parents to be so strong, and all it takes is one visit of saying, mom has concerns, and you leave with those concerns unaddressed and everything's fine and baby's okay. No, absolutely, positively, 110% not okay. I would like a scientific, highly medical answer for this question that I have. I need to understand, I need to see data, I need to see something that backs up the fact that we are not addressing this concern at this point. Because if we want this child to develop in a neurotypical manner and be healthy and be well, now would be the time to address it, not when they're getting services. Because we just kind of scooted with a kid who had glazed over eyes and never pointed and didn't emote and didn't talk. How is it okay that these kids are getting to kindergarten? And they're a child who goes to kindergarten and doesn't talk?
Yeah,
I
it
have
really
a
wasn't.
real problem with that.
It really wasn't until, the doctors kind of tell you everything's fine, that's normal, he's a boy, he develops later. It wasn't until my dad actually said something's wrong with that kid that I think we really,
It was horrible.
stood back.
But I will never forget how much I respect him for saying that, because
Yeah,
he's a
he
man
just-
of few words. You know
But
how
he-
he's a man of
he's
few
just
words.
Very brutally honest. He
Something
says,
wrong.
Something wrong with that
And then
kid.
I immediately said something to my mother, who said, I didn't want to be the one to tell you.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah. And so by the time we actually got to a psychiatric evaluation, we knew, and we walked in there, and we were talking with the psychiatrist, and about 10 minutes in, she said, you guys know, right? And we're like, yeah, we know. We're just here to get the diagnosis.
neurologist, not
Or-
psychiatrist.
Oh, it was a neurologist. Yeah, you're
Neurologist,
right.
who we waited months and months. We waited 5 months to get in to see this premier neurologist who is, this is who you have to see. She's the best of the best. And
That's right, it
she
was
was so immensely impressed with our knowledge, which I found so disturbing.
Easy, bro.
Oh, brother. I found that so disturbing, because are you kidding me? Like, you're impressed with our knowledge? We've waited all this time. And then we immediately, remember, we got pushed from her to the other neurologist.
Oh, yeah.
Who was the prescribing
Rolex
the
guy.
Rolex doctor. I'll never forget Rolex doctor. He walked in just tan as tan could be, and now there's something we haven't shared with everybody before. He was away
How
on
long
a
is
business
this?
trip. I don't know. Is this okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
He was-
People are loving it.
He was on a right. Gozes could go all night.
Give me a beer.
Somebody get us a beer. I'm just kidding. He
No,
was
I'm not.
he was on a business trip, and it was July 4th weekend. It wasn't July 4th, but my amazing mother-in-law was here, and he had his first seizure. And I ran him to emergency, and I didn't know for sure what was going on yet. I had already read those books. We didn't have the appointment with the neurologist yet. And I ran him to emergency, and he got out of the bath. He came in our bedroom, and he just flopped face down. I think one of the kids who's visiting us might be drinking out of the toilet. But he flipped face down, and I flipped him over, and his eyes were open, and he was looking at me, and I was shaking him, and I was like, Noah, can you hear me? And he just kept shutting his eyes, and he was breathing, he was fine. I rushed him to the emergency room. We get in there, and the doctors and the nurses are dealing with him, and at this point our pediatrician kept saying, nothing's wrong, everything's fine, you're just overreacting. They're looking at each other, they're sharing glances, you know how sometimes you're sharing a glance with somebody who walks into a room that you don't want to talk to, and you look at another person who doesn't want to talk to that person either. That's exactly what was happening. I didn't mention the A word, which I had suspected. It wasn't an official diagnosis yet. I just suspected it. And I didn't say anything. And there, I can see them hemming and hawing and what to do. And we were told that we had to have this very expensive blood test because there could be something viral wrong. And I knew instinctively this was not the issue. I don't think that's the problem. At that point, because I wanted to avoid the blood test, said, there may or may not be something going on neurologically that we should address. And the doctor looks at the nurse and is like, you know what, he's got autism. It's probably autism. So, you know what, you guys can just go home. You have to have the blood test. That's absolutely necessary because we have to make sure he's not harboring an infectious disease. You guys should probably just go home. I'm laughing now. I was on the floor, I'll never forget, sitting right by that outlet right there in the dining room with my mother-in-law, banging my head so hard against the wall because I will never forget the doctor when I left saying to me, you'll just make an appointment. You'll just make an appointment and they'll do a scan and you'll find out if he's probably having seizures. If it was a neurotypical kid, if it was a kid who was just living life and doing what they do and there was they weren't suspecting anything, there would have been, okay, wow, this is a real issue. We need to look at this right now and find out what just happened to this kid. It was, you'll just make an appointment, which was basically like, if he has 5 or 10 seizures over the course of July 4th weekend, that's perfectly fine. That's okay. He has autism. That's what they do.
Maddie,
that's what they do.
Bella, they'd be seen straight away.
Yeah.
Oh my God! If it was Maddie or Bella, it would be like.
But I think that's a larger indictment in the entire system. Is certain kids are collateral damage, and they're just, it's okay. I mean, I hate to go there, but I think that's what it's become. If you can't handle the program, it's okay. We'll just kind of push it to the side.
Babies.
I know it is. I mean, those are every person counts. But I don't think when you're an administrator looking at 300 million people, so say in the United States, not even counting the rest of the world, it's all numbers to you. It's not humans. I mean, and it's sad, but that's what it's become. Like our kids are acceptable collateral damage.
And by that time, we had found a really powerful alternative health care professional who was helping us, and I called her answering service. And I cried with the answering service because I was like, my kid's having seizures. And we all know seizures cause significant brain damage that can have lasting effects throughout their entire lifetime. And I remember sitting there, and she was like, honey, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, if emergency won't take you, and I don't know what to tell you, honey, you're just going to have to wait. And I just remember, him laying on me that night. I couldn't be separated from him because what if he stopped breathing, or what if something happened? I just remember him laying on me that entire night and realizing, I'm it for this kid. Nobody, they're not going to respond because this label has been applied. And what's so powerful about that experience is the language had not yet even been applied. It was so already there in the healthcare professionals who we went to for help. It was already in their mind. And all I had to do was, guide the idea a little bit. And, oh yeah, this one's one of those, so we're good. Let's get this one dismissed and move on to the next. I think that really says a lot about, and I'm not indicting doctors and nurses as people. I know a lot of really amazing physicians and nurses who believe what they're doing is the pinnacle of healthcare. They really, truly believe that they are doing what's right. And I know a lot more who...
I think most of the people, the frontline workers in most organizations, pharma, doctors, CDC, whatever it might be, I do feel like they think they're doing the right thing. I don't think this is like a diabolical,
Oh,
plan going on here, except for there are a handful of players that really know what's going on and are doing wrong by our kids. But I think most people have the best intentions, including parents, the parents who label us as crazy anti-vaxxers. I get that. I mean, but the reality is we were all very pro-vaccination before our kids got injured. So I still think that argument falls short because until our kids got hurt, just like if you had a peanut allergy or a penicillin allergy, you're pro those medications until it really destroys your child's system.
or how about we're not pro or anti anything? We just probably don't need to put stuff in our body that we don't know what it does. It's just about really evaluating with a intuitive and scientific mind. Like,
Why not take the kids through titer tests and see if they have antibodies to these infectious diseases? Why not educate parents on the true risks of, say, something like chickenpox or the measles?
because what does that do to the business model?
I mean, the
we need to
business
evaluate
model
that.
does carry the day. I mean, the reality of the situation, that is the truth. Vaccines are, I don't know the latest data. The last data I knew was like $25 billion industry growing at 12-14% a year. But I mean, there aren't many businesses that are that mature that are growing at that pace. Not many businesses that have that kind of market capitalization that are growing at that percentage rate. So I mean, and if you couple all of that with the fact that there is zero liability for any of the pharmaceutical manufacturers, at least in the United States, and I think in multiple countries abroad, there is zero liability for the pharmaceutical manufacturers of vaccines for any damage whatsoever. I mean, you basically have built, in addition to the fact that you have a built-in customer base, meaning CDC schedule, the various medical schedules around the world. So you have a guaranteed base of customers, you have zero liability, and you have unlimited growth. So
Unlimited growth.
where does that stop?
Unlimited
At some point,
growth.
I think every consumer has to look at that, whether you're a parent or you're not a parent, and say, do these people have my best interest in mind? And the answer is very...
It's okay. There's lots in my office.
No, the answer though is very much that they do not. They don't have our interests at heart, and so that's why I think you always say parents do the work, because we have to. Because as consumers, there is a system that's substantially against the end consumer and all about the large special interests, which is the pharmaceutical industry. And it's a revolving door also between the government agencies and the pharmaceutical industry. So I think it's foolish to even think that, and people say, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist or whatever. I mean, conspiracy theorist is nothing more than somebody who doesn't trust known liars. If you ask the average person on the street, do you trust politicians? They'll say, no, they're liars. But if you say that there's some sort of conspiracy going on, you're somehow labeled as a nut, but the reality is you're just questioning people that everybody else says are known liars.
Before the light goes, I want to get Noah to sign the bus, but just one thing I really would love to hear from you both. What has this vaccine injury taken away from the son?
Want to answer?
One of the things that I always enjoyed was, and still do, is athletics. And Noah has a very instinctive athleticism about him, but because his brain doesn't work appropriately, he can't throw a ball, he can't catch a ball. Well, actually, he just started catching a ball.
And we just got him riding a bike.
But even that, like his feet don't work with his brain, and there's just certain things that, as a new dad, that I always expected to play catch with my kid, and to ride bikes and play football, and all those different things. And I certainly get to do that with my young guy, who's a phenomenal athlete, and it's a lot of fun.
And Mads.
And Mads, who's also a very good athlete.
But he's like Billy. Like we know that.
Like he probably
he was
would have
meant
been, and he's our tallest. He's got the broadest shoulders. He's got the biggest hands.
Rugby players.
Yes, like he probably is going to be 6'5".
You wouldn't want to take those boys, Billy,
With the
and
Reeds.
Noah on,
Yeah,
would you?
and the
With the
Reeds
Reed
and
boys, then we would
the
have had the
Tommies
best
and
rugby
best
team
rugby
ever.
scrum ever. And so like those sorts of things I miss. But the
What
thing,
could have been? What could have been? Doesn't matter. And he may not want to, you know, Billy and Noah may not ever wanted to be rugby players, and that's fine. But they're never
Yeah.
going to be given the chance.
Yeah.
Right.
That's been taken from them.
Well, I think.
and the bigger thing for me is, regardless of athletics, I just can't talk to him yet, and hopefully someday. But a conversation, like he can definitely tell us his wants now, but to have a true, meaningful conversation with him, it's just not there. And I want to know so much about what's going on in his head. And granted, we're very lucky because there's so many parents out there whose kids are completely nonverbal. So
Our dad, our children lived.
or yes, and our children lived. So this is not, sour grapes at all. But in terms of what I would enjoy at some point would just be to have a
I mean,
conversation with him.
What happened to your son and my son is not okay.
No.
We were lied to, and what happened to them is not okay, and no one's responsible for it. So this is one of the things that I'm seeing as we're going around this country. It is not, and we are lucky they lived. We are lucky we hear their voice. We're lucky for many, many things, but it is not okay.
No. Not okay.
It's not okay. And I think what makes it most not okay is just the fact that it's so routinely happening that it's at the point, and I know you just came from seeing Marcella, and she and I have had this conversation many times where I'm at a point where it's become so normal that in order to protect myself, because I have to be present for him for all that we've been through, I can no longer receive new parents in an authentic way. I used to be able to, okay, this just happened, and these are the steps you go through, and here's how you do this, and this is what you do. This is how you get them better. This is how you, this is what you do for your diet. This is how you, if you feel like you have a claim, this is how you, if you want to report it to VAERS, whatever. I can't emotionally journey with new parents anymore. I used to be able to do that, and I can't anymore because there's nothing left at the end of the day after Alex.
Yeah.
How we all survived Alex. I mean, swear to God, how we all survived that, I have no idea. But it taught me, these are my people, and this is what I have to focus on. And when I did that, he improved tremendously. He improved tremendously, but it's so hard because people will, you get both. First you get, I have questions and I'm not sure what I should do. Oh, that's easy enough. I send them Cynthia Cornoyer's book, What About Immunizations? I send them to Marcella's website. I send them, obviously, to the Thinking Moms, our organization. But then you also get the, oh my God, what just happened? My kid just had a seizure and somebody told me that I have to contact you. I get the phone calls and I get the PMs on Facebook. And it's overwhelming. The sheer numbers of parents now who aren't questioning and are just, I'm doing, of course, I'm at a point where he always says I'm so entrenched in our community that I don't know what the real world is like anymore. And I think he's
Have you guys tried going out for dinner and talking about anything but the injury?
Oh yeah.
It's really hard. John and I have to go and see a film first. We don't know what to do. It's really hard.
But the thing is,
Yeah.
we kind of started though as just very fun-loving people, and we still have that aspect of us. So we laugh at almost everything, including, shit on the ceiling, and that
You gotta cure that.
like literally poop on the ceiling. That
Well, or
has
the holes
happened.
behind you. If you guys look at the holes behind you,
Yeah, we were.
that's from Noah. That's from when Noah was little and he was at his worst. He would fill up the bathtub and he would leave it. He would leave the room and shut the door so we wouldn't know what was going on. And we'd be going about our day, and he would fill it so that our bathroom would be flooded, our bedroom would be flooded. So we had this huge mold episode, and so now we have sunlights or skylights, whatever you want to call them. But basically, leading up to our, master bath, and but I mean, it was years and years of that sort of property damage, and you don't laugh. What the hell are you gonna do? Because it'll kill you.
No, so I mean, we definitely talk about things, but we do have good senses of humor, and
You do, and you
enjoy
both
each
come
other.
from great families as well.
Oh, yeah.
People, you have to wait till you meet what we've affectionately named Granny Goes.
She's amazing. I'm
It's
sure
amazing.
she'll do a
You
camera
wait, and for
appearance.
those of you who remember her at the Give Autism Chance conference, great. I have to say, Lisa, I've changed, and this is the thing that's happened to me in the last 3 months is I don't like that word autism because it's a big lie. Our children are vaccine injured, and it's a bullshit name that they gave our kids.
Yeah,
And
I
I've
agree.
only realised that, and everything I do is named the Autism Trust, the Autism File,
Yeah.
the Autism Media Channel.
Yeah.
And I want to change every single name because
Yeah.
I will not accept that diagnosis which has divided us. And I'm meeting people with vaccine injury that never knew us before, the ones in wheelchairs that are paralysed, the dead
The Karen
babies,
Kanes,
the dead
the Lauren
teenagers,
Kanes,
the Gardasil
yeah.
girls.
The Sids.
We're all the same, and we're so powerful.
Amen.
So I hate that word autism.
I do.
Because it's BS.
I will only ever say it if I use the word iatrogenic in front of it. I will always only
She
say
does.
iatrogenic autism because it means doctor caused.
Before the light goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do the
bus.
This is live on Periscope. This lady is amazing. I love you so much.
You were so close.
Oh, it's so good to see you again.
I fell asleep last night. It was very gentle.
And I would love you to talk to him. We're going to go and take Noah out. She's going to sign the bus. But this, Mama goes, they call you. This is you. I love your whole godliness. This is you've got to come out and see the bus.
I will. We
It's
drove up and
Did you see all the names on
Yes,
there?
I did, but I didn't see it up close and personal. It's so good to see Polly. Praise God for Polly.
Oh, this is God, lad. This is all God. What's happening out there? At long last. How long have we been doing this?
It doesn't matter. Sometimes it's 40 years in the desert, but it happens.
And you did that amazing speech in Austin that time that we still talk about. It was so, it's not about you. I love that.
It isn't about old people. You know, it's just not. And the reason I was so on fire when I got on that stage with you guys is because one of the women, she's from England, and she was telling me that the grandmother of her injured child hit him and told her he was no longer welcomed in their home because she needs to discipline him. And she cried, and I held her. Just broke my heart. It was like, grandmas don't do that.
And so the reason why, just so people know, we'll repost what we've affectionately called Granny Goes, Mama Goes, Granny Goes talk, and it was about because so many parents don't have the support in their family, or they're told
They
it's
don't.
not in our family. All these cruel comments that come out, and you did this amazing speech about it. Speaking to grandparents that it's not about you.
Correct.
And it was really powerful.
It's not about you, and get rid of your stuff. I said another word at the talk, but I was fired up, so I won't swear again. But get rid of all your junk. You know, if you have a child who's injured, you make it a safe place. You hug on them, you love them, you find out what they want to do, and how best you can serve them. They're not there to serve you. Grandmas, grandpas, listen. You are there to love on them.
And keep praying. I keep
And
telling
keep
people,
praying.
pray big.
Oh yeah, pray.
So
big.
I always say now,
Yeah.
don't pray for something you can do. My pastor taught me this.
Yeah.
Pray for something God can do.
Right.
And this
right,
is it. This
right.
is it.
But you can clean up your house. That you can do. God's not going to do that for you. So get rid of your china, get rid of all your little tchotchkes, and let that child just be loved and pray big. I love that. Pray big.
Big
Yeah. Well, we
prayers
need to
is
go
what we
see that
need.
bus.
Yeah, come
And
see
I
the
want to
bus.
see Noah see the bus.
Noah's going to sign the bus. I'll tell you this. I had this amazing thought today. One of the reasons why I don't want a new bus is because there's so much. Do you remember when the pastor came over just before we left Austin? I don't know how long ago it was, and the pastor prayed that we would take this from darkness into light. And I looked at the bus and I suddenly realised that the black is disappearing slowly on the bus. And what is happening with the silver pens is that it is becoming a silver light. So we got to fill every single inch of that black. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Oh, he doesn't have to. Bless him, he's crying, he doesn't want to go. He's like Billy, he doesn't look like keen on the bus. I think some of our kids pick up that this bus is full of, I don't know. Like Billy said, this bus is a little piece of hell. I think he's probably talking about Chantal more than anything else.
Oh, you want to climb on a ladder? Yeah. You saw the ladder.
Someone's asking if you'll marry the Manu.
Anytime.
We felt like a wedding at the Autism Trust Land. We've planned the wedding, we just need to get some
Can you
love.
sign your name in that big black space?
Oh, there we go, there's Noah. Noah goes.
Put your name in there on the bus.
Oh my gosh. Dave, we
Are
have
you
no
scared?
insurance that covers this,
Oh,
so
don't
you
worry
look
about it.
after your boy.
Hey, step up. You're fearless inside the house.
No.
Here, write your name right here. N O
H.
Good writing, Noah.
Way to go, bro.
Good job.